everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Monday, November 8th, 2021. Hope you had a great day, soaked in the sun, and ready to rock and roll. I didn't take my own advice over the weekend and get outside to do the lights. I'm going to try to do that tonight. Day got away from me yesterday. That's all I'm saying. Maybe the Packer game. Anyway, normally I listen too, but I had to see. Everybody wanted to see Love, play yesterday, so I bit into that and bummered at that too. Anyway, we have a great show, and I going back to the temperatures wise, take advantage of it while you can before it turns snowy by the weekend. So it sort of is that time of year. I mean, sometimes we see snow before Thanksgiving, sometimes we don't. You just never know. But as somebody was describing it the other day, we were interviewing Clean Lakes Alliance, which we're excited to have them as a partner here. But with the changes in weather between global warming and other natural phenomena, I think the snow and winters for us are going to be different, where it's going to be warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, cold, and it's how it is, right? It's how it's going to be. So anyway, that's a different story all in itself. We got a lot to talk about. Andrew's usually can jump in and say, "Okay, dude, you lost us," but we're gonna move on here. We're gonna be recapping the weekend events. We had the recycling event, long awaited, this past weekend. We'll take you out, show you how much recycling was done, and it sounds like a lot of you turned out for that great event. Plus, we'll recap the Fitchburg Historical Society's annual meeting happening over the weekend on Sunday. We'll bring you some of that from their online event right here on TF. So let's get to it. We start with the public hearing on the council's proposed amendments to the 2022 operating budget. That is happening tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at the Common Council. We'll hold that public hearing on the Fitchburg City Hall or virtually regarding the council's proposed amendments to the 2022 operating budget. To access the mayor's proposed budget and the council's proposed amendments, you can go to fitchburgwi.gov. Go to our finance page and you'll find those information. Also, Andrew, we'll share the link for you so you can check that out when we post up the headlines later today. All right, save the date. Fishhatchee Road reopening event is set for, drumroll please. Well, I guess it's not the first time we told you this, but join us on Wednesday, November 17th. Yeah, it's going to be great. More announcements will be coming, but this will start promptly at 1:15 p.m. with a ribbon cutting and then some refreshments to follow. This is following the reconstruction after 2 years of road construction on Fishhatchee Road. Will be completed here next week, and we're looking forward to celebrating that. And thank you for your patience and commitment to getting through this project. It looks really good. I'm glad to have that all opening up so we can get through that beautiful corridor. All right, happening this week is Crash Responder Safety Week. It's November 8th through the 14th. Please join us as we recognize those who put their lives at risk to protect us, like Wisconsin State Patrol Inspector Jason here while working crash scene on I-94 in Racine County in March of 2021. Inspector a vehicle was hit when a driver failed to move over in the emergency lights. So please make sure you move over and slow down. And it says here that I was lucky and got a second chance in the end. We all want the same thing, to go home and see our family at the end of the day. We'll be talking more about this all week long here. Make sure that you stay safe when you are out on the roadways. All right, as leaves fall and we have some rain coming up in the forecast, want to make sure that why leaves can be a problem for our lakes. It says here leaves release phosphorus when they break down, representing one of the largest sources of urban phosphorus pollution. When left in the street, leaves make phosphorus-rich tea that washes down storm drains and directly into our lakes. It only takes 1 pound of phosphorus to produce 500 pounds of algae in our lakes. Also, some quick facts here. Over the course of a year, more than 50% of phosphorus in urban stormwater can come from leaves in the street. And in fall, removing leaves from the street before it rains can reduce the amount of phosphorus in our urban stormwater by 80% compared to no leaf removal at all. So please consider cleaning off the leaves out of the streets near you, and you can recycle those on property. And we'll share the link here in the story, and actually tells you ways you can compost your leaves right on site. I started doing this about 5 years ago, and it's amazing. I don't even have to crush the leaves. I just put them in my garden and rototill them in to be right now. In fact, as soon as this week, I'll be doing it. And by the time summer rolls around and spring, I rototill it again. It's like fresh, great dirt. So I would urge you to do that, or mulch it, because it can work to benefit your lawn as well. All right, turn your attention to the Badger Prairie Needs Network. They have their Thanksgiving distribution happening again here. It says BPNN guests will have an opportunity to receive a special Thanksgiving basket from November 9th through the 23rd. No registration is needed, and the Thanksgiving basket is in addition to the 2 shopping trips our guests can make each month. The basket may be picked up during one of their regular shopping trips, or designated visit during open hours from November 9th through the 23rd. And a lot of people think about volunteering this time. They have some volunteer opportunity as well. You can go to BPNN's website, share the link today where you can get signed up. Finally, Fitchburg Public Library has their weekly upcoming events. Wanted to get them on the calendar here for you so you can check it out. Got a lot of fun things going on. What they take home Tuesday, stop by the library, pick up those activity bags, ages 2 to 5, 6 to 12. Wednesday, you've got pumpkin slime. We talked about this with Wendy. That's why I had to put this back in there, because that is just something else. If you haven't seen that interview from last Friday, you should check that out. Thursday, November 11th, we are grateful story time is happening again. Friday, November 12th, you've got your Friday fun to go. And ongoing programs, you got the Story Walk at McKee Farms Park. A new story has been put in that Story Walk. Grab bags, don't miss out on those. And the 1,000 books before kindergarten, all those continue to go on. You can sign up on Beanstack for that 1,000 books thing. All great stuff happening at the library. All right, that does it for headlines. Coming to next, we're opening up our digest. We'll take you out to the recycling event happening over the weekend right here on Talking Fitchburg.
It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. Use a delivery service for essential items like food and medicine. If you must make essential trips, stay 6 feet apart from other people. Wear a cloth face covering and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Hey, boss. Okay.
Said I'm fine.
Me to bed, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it. In my head, in my head, in my head. Where you at? Underlay in my head.
Hey, son.
Hey, Bob.
You know you can talk to me.
Yeah.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us.
Ready!
That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. In the digest today, we're going to take you out to the fall recycling event happened this weekend. Did you bring your stuff out there? Well, in case you missed it, it's all right. We were there. And showing you why it's so important that we do this recycling event to keep everything out of the landfill.
We are here for the 2021 Fall Electronics Recycling and Confidential Paper Shredding event. Haven't been able to have this event in about 2 years thanks to a pandemic, and clearly there's a lot of pent-up demand from missing this event over that time. The turnout's been really, really strong. So back in 2019, between the two events, we collected over 20,000 pounds of paper to be shredded and over 11 tons of electronics to be recycled, as well as 130 pounds of unused, unneeded, expired medication at the police department med drop. So we've had a really strong early turnout, and I think it's just people been holding on to this for a couple years, waiting for this event to pop up again. This event is put on by city staff and the Resource Conservation Commission in partnership with Pelletary Waste and Resource Solutions, who helps us with our electronics recycling. We do this event twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. We're hoping that next year we'll be able to get back into that 2-a-year cycle. Outside of events like this, if you need confidential documents to be shredded, a number of local stores, I think a lot of office supply companies will take documents for shredding for a cost. Sometimes your workplace may offer that. You can certainly buy a shredder on your own. I don't know if that's the most logical solution for a lot of people, but it's an option. For electronics recycling, some stores like a Best Buy will take certain electronics and charging cables and things back to be recycled. Larger items, you'll usually need to take them to, I believe, Clean Sweep over at the Dane County landfill will take these items for a fee. The electronics that are collected here will be repurposed, recycled as much as possible, trying to extract as many parts as they can to be reused. Anything that can't be reused will be landfilled. The paper behind us might be used for a ground cover, might be recycled. I'm not 100% certain what Pelletary is doing. But the most important thing is that it's being shredded, so the confidential documents are protected. I haven't talked to anyone individually about it, but the response certainly has been enthusiastic. People were lined up a half an hour before the event started this morning, so people are pretty excited to be able to drop off these items again. We don't have a date yet, but the next event should be in the spring. We're looking at April. That's when we try to do our spring drop-off event in coordination with Earth Month. So your confidential documents you don't just want to recycle just in case, they could blow away, fall into somebody's hands. That's information you want to protect, and so shredding is the best course of action. For the electronics, the reason that we try to do this kind of an event to collect items for recycling is that, one, there are materials that can be reused or recycled, and we'd rather put those back into more of a circular product cycle as opposed to just landfilling them. Another reason is that there are certain hazardous materials in some of these electronics, and we don't want those to potentially leach out from landfills after a heavy rainfall into the soil. So it's better to be able to recycle these electronics, capture any materials that shouldn't be put in a landfill, and make sure that they're properly handled. I think that people are frequently looking for ways to contribute both to decreasing our overall waste flows, and to just being a part of, Fitchburg is a recycling leader in Wisconsin. The RCC and the city of Fitchburg really try to do a lot of things to help. Certain environmental solutions are more impactful when they're done as a collective rather than as individuals. So this gives people an opportunity to participate in something that's more of a larger group action. I think it's also important for the city to have events like this to give people a chance to participate and to really be out in the front and lead on environmental actions like this, and really give people an opportunity to participate in this as a collective.
All right, there you have it. Thank you to all of you who came out and recycled. Love it. We'll keep you up to date on the spring recycling event if we're able to bring that back to you. We'll let you know here on TF. All right, taking a break. Coming up next, we open up our guest segment. We're going to take a look at yesterday's Fitchburg Historical Society annual meeting. That's next, right here on Talking Fitchburg.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. In our guest segment today, we're going to be taking you out to yesterday's Fitchburg Historical Society annual meeting. Oh, it's a lot to say. A tongue twister. And they were talking genealogy yesterday. And if you are even just a bit curious about your family history, then you're going to want to see this piece.
Hello, this is Roger Law Tess from the Fitchburg Historical Society, welcoming you to our fall 2021 meeting. You may ask, what is genealogy? Genealogy is learning more about your family's past. And it often requires digging through governmental records, historical archive records, newspaper clippings, other resources that are often hard to track down and may require visits and paying money to get copies of resources. You're really searching for information on births, marriages, migrations, stories, and deaths. Nowadays, genealogy and other online tools make it much easier to search through historical databases and discover old and often obscure facts on your family's history from your computer at your home. And current matching technology can automatically connect your family tree with others who share similar ancestors and even share your DNA. So today's presentation about using land to map your genealogy focuses on something that people may not think about, or you may not think about as a way to find out more about your family's past. So be sharing a pre-recorded presentation that Patty prepared for us.
Today we're going to be talking about using land to map your genealogy. Now you're probably wondering why we're talking about genealogy and the land, and how does that tie together? How does someone owning land help you and I research our family? Well, land records were created. Land records are not just deeds, but they could be property tax records and agricultural records, probate, cemetery records, city and county directories, maps of different types. The further we go back in time, the more likely it is that you and I will find that our ancestors were actually landowners. But as the population in America started increasing in the cities, more people were found to start renting apartments and homes and their store and even a farm. But records were still created. And those records are going to give us clues where to find other information. Those clues help us identify other family members. They can help us identify females. Now remember, the further we go back in time, those first names of females were so difficult to find. We can find possibly our immigrants' origins and their date of immigration, location prior to land ownership. Did they serve in the military? They can help us with those time frames for missing records and the wealth or status of our family. Now, once the Europeans started exploring across the sea, it wasn't surprising, of course, that they came to what is now known as America. those countries were looking for land because land meant wealth and wealth meant power. We started looking at ownership maps. Do you notice anything? Yeah, I noticed when I looked on here, similar names of people that were married into a family. Many times land broke apart too, as we saw in previous examples. Priscilla got 1/7 of a piece of land. The land is probably going to be in her husband's name now. People married nearby neighbors. Check your census records for your area. How many different ways can you spell your last name? Hartle, or in my case, Schmidt, or any name. Check it out, spell it out. Now remember, there could have been a language barrier. And the census takers, the farther we go back in time, were sheriffs. They wrote down how they heard things. So one family could have their name spelled many different ways. Keep that in mind always when you do family research. Now, I would suggest that you find a plat map or an owner's map for the area for the time period that your family lived there in that particular area. Look closely. Can you find others, again, with that same last name or close to it? How do you find other relatives? Well, was there a church in close proximity to where your ancestor lived? Remember, at a certain time period, the churches were required to keep certain records. If you were in a community or your ancestors were in a community, a large community that had more than one church of the same faith, please look at the map and look at the church that was closest to your ancestors. That would be the starting spot for you. And you need to research. You need to really research. Use land entry books, tract books, deeds, land ownership maps. We need to do due diligence. Excuse me. Just as we check those census records again before and after, where we find our ancestor, we need to do the same thing with those land entry books, the tract books, the deeds. We're looking for people, not only our ancestors, but people with the same similar names. Notice people who came in the same vicinity as those Kellys at the same date. They might not have the same last name, but the same date is interesting. That could be a hint. And again, many times our ancestors are living close by to each other. And should a parent pass away, their land was divided by their, possibly to their children. Don't forget the daughter's married and land may be under their husband's last name. Check land ownership maps for the locale and the time period you're seeking. Use all of those hints to find other records.
I just wanted to, first of all, show some information that I found on Fitchburg related items. Here's a plat map of Fitchburg from the 1873. And if you notice, like Fitchburg is Township 6 North, Range 9 East. It's one of the ways of designating land in Wisconsin elsewhere. So typically a township was set up as 36 square miles, 6 miles by 6 miles. Each one of these sections is 1 mile by 1 mile. And the numbering system, started from the top right going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then down 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So in this section 17 is where I'll show you some information in a moment. So like when I went to Bureau of Land Management, General Land Office records, I put in state of Wisconsin, county of Dane, and then township 6, range 9, to see information about land in the town of Fitchburg. And there were like 14 pages of records that showed up here. And down towards the bottom here, there's 3 interesting names: John Stoner, S-T-O-N-E-R, and John Stoner, S-T-O-N-O-R, and another S-T-N-O-R. So even, like with transcribing information in documents, you may come across different name spellings. So then like that's just another place to give you a start of looking for things, like where your ancestors came from. You may find these types of documents available. And, as Patty had, shared with us today, lots and lots of other information that you can, track down, whether it's looking for information on tax records or like who voted in elections, to just discover like where people lived and where they are connected with your family.
All right, there you have it. You can check out the full meeting. We'll broadcast that here on Fact TV later this month. Going to take a quick break, wrap up the show next. You're watching TF.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show. Hey, I'm going to thank the Fact TV staff getting out there this weekend and covering both of those weekend events. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you for tuning in and watching our Talking Fitchburg daily newscast. And we certainly enjoy doing this, providing information each and every day. And if you haven't been able to follow us yet because you don't know where we're at, well, Andrew has made it simple for you right there. Head to our website, fitchburgwi.gov, find us on social media, and enjoy